attention. The song itself was quite unique and brought an aggressive sound into hip-hop that hadn't been heard in the mainstream before, and it would go on to inspire a generation of artists, combining genres and showing that you don't have to be placed in a category to be popular.
As mentioned previously, Jasse was in prison for a number of domestic violence charges. The whole case seems very messy and very emotional, as you would expect from a situation like this. Some of the accusations from the victim were proven to be untrue, such as he claimed that she was pregnant. However, this does not mean Jasse wasn't at all abusive. Some of the accusations and images from the case are gruesome, graphic, and simply horrific. Jasse denied the claims, pleaded not guilty, and the charges were dropped after his passing. However, audio recordings since then have been leaked, which sound like a confession of his awful action. This recording had come out earlier before his death. It could have potentially ruined his career. However, it didn't, and on August 25th, 2017, he released his first official album, 17. The album debuted at number 2 on the Billboard charts and was very different to the music that had catapulted him to fame. With many samples from mystery social media musicians Shiloh Dynasty, the album is very somber, slow, and for the most part gentle. X showed a vulnerable side to him and showcased his talent in both singing and rapping. The main theme throughout the album is X's struggles with his mental health. This seems to be something a lot of fans can relate to, and there are millions of people that would say this album helped them through tough periods of their lives. Can't talk about 17 without mentioning one of X's biggest songs, Jocelyn Florida. The story of one of X's friends killing herself, and X's mental battle with this tragedy. The song for me is very revealing and explains a lot of why X is the character that he is. Hundreds of millions of streams on Spotify alone, and co-signed from Kendrick Lamar, it's fair to say the album was quite a success.
Trying to keep the success going, X released another project in December 2017 titled The Ghetto Christmas Carol, which was more like previous projects. But then in March 2018, he would drop his most successful project, Question Mark. This combines many different genres with the intention of every song being different. He even stated in the introduction to listeners to open their minds. The album debuted at number 1 this time, and it was also on this album which X released his biggest song to date.
You decide if you ever know, yeah. Suicide if you ever try to let go. Yeah. I'm sad to know, yeah. I'm sad to know, yeah. Gave her everything, she took my heart and left me broken. Dark intentions, dark intentions, I won't fix, I'd rather leave. I'm lost and I'm found, but it's torture being in love. I love when you're around, but I fucking hate when you leave.
XXXTentacion was on course to becoming one of the biggest names in hip-hop, competing with artists like Drake and Post Malone, streaming figures, and helping prove once again what the opportunities of platforms such as SoundCloud can provide with little financial backing. He had secured his position as the leader of the new generation in hip-hop, but then June 18th.
It was the summer of 2018. On June 18th, Jasse was in his hometown of Fort Lauderdale and was shopping at a motorbike dealership. It was as he left that a black SUV blocked his exit and 2 men got out in an attempt to rob him. It's believed that he tried to fight back, and as a result was shot dead and left to die in his car alone. The 4 men involved in the murder have been arrested and acquitted. There was an outpour of sadness from the hip-hop community when the victims broke. As one life ended, another had begun. X's mother announcing on his Instagram he would have soon become a father. Since then, the child has been born and called Getsy, the word X created in a different state of thinking. Fatherhood was not the only thing in his future, with him signing a $20 million album deal weeks before his passing. Only that, he had filmed a couple of music videos, one of which was Sad.
$20 million. $20 million. And he didn't say anything. sad thing. X will never be back. Like, it's so much potential was gone. Like Juice WRLD, dude, Juice WRLD, so much potential is gone. I mean, literally, Juice WRLD would be considered give him 2 years, considered the greatest of all time. Give him 2 good years.
Watching the Sad music video was one of the most haunting experiences I think I'll ever have as a music fan. Of course, if he was still alive when it was released, this would not have been the case, but the fact is, he wasn't, and that will always change how you perceive a project. So, when X is literally walking into his own funeral and also having a conversation with what looks like death, it made the first watch a bizarre and emotional experience. Since, there's been a few X features such as Arms Around You with Lil Pump and Falling Down with Lil Peep. However, they do not compare to his posthumous album, Skins, released on the 7th of December 2018. The album had only one feature, which was Kanye West, who X claimed to admire, and Kanye also tweeted how X inspired him on the day of his death. The album shows, in my opinion, perfectly X's ability to create music from varying genres, whilst also showcasing his special talent of creating atmosphere and making the listener really feel something when they're taking in his music.
And ultimately, this is what X's legacy would be, his music. In such a short time, he left a massive footprint on the music industry. It impacted millions upon millions of people, helping many with their mental health, and it was all down to his fearless, genuine, and unique approach to creating music. However, there was also a dark side to him, and it's important that we don't just ignore it because of his talent. Although he began doing many good deeds, such as the Helping Hand Challenge and creating his foundation, the reality is, as Kanye says in his feature on Skins, people were meant to use the work, and how X allegedly acted with his ex-girlfriend is simply unforgivable. I do genuinely feel like bad people can change and become better humans, and I feel he was in the process of doing this. There was a Twitter thread from hip-hop artist Jidena when X died that sums up the situation well. He writes,
For those who are so worried that they will naturally be sued, remember this. If Malcolm X was killed at the age of 20, he would have died an abuser, a thief, an addict, and a narrow-minded, depressed, and violent criminal. So I believe in change for the young. For the record, I was never in support of his ways, especially his domestic abuse, which I found to be horrific. But I will never demonise an individual without criticising the society and or circumstance in which they were raised, especially someone under 21. Rest in peace, XXXTentacion. No one could be so self-righteous that they're happy when the youth dies. The young still have the capability to reform. God bless the king.
I'm not saying it's certain he would have changed, but it's certainly something to consider. And I don't think judging a character like X can be as black and white as some people make it.
Worst thing comes to worst, I fucking die a tragic death or some shit, and I'm not able to see out my dreams. I at least want to know that the kids perceived my message and were able to make something of themselves and able to take my message and use it and turn it into something positive and to at least have a good life. I at least, if I'm gonna die or ever be a sacrifice, I want to make sure that my life made at least 5 million kids happy, or they found some sort of answers or resolve in my life, regardless of the negative around my name, regardless of the bad things people say to me. I don't give a fuck, because I know my goal in the end, and I know what I want for everyone, and I know what my message is. So I just wanted to say I appreciate and love all of you, and I believe in you all. Do not let your depression make you. Do not let your body define your soul. Let your soul define your body. Your mind is limitless. You are worth more than you could believe. All you have to do is dream, and all you have to do is want to fulfill that dream and have the strength to fulfill that dream. Pain is a sign of progress. When you feel pain, there is progress. I love you all. Make sure you have a good one.
And that is the life, death, and legacy of XXXTentacion. With those for visuals, thank you for watching.
In situations like these, all we can do is learn from the mistakes that people make and better yourself. Right. I hate a motherfucker like, oh, he just dies and got a corpse. You don't end up the same, the same situation. Like, learn from the mistakes, like the fatal mistakes that people make. Because, who wants to have another casualty?
Right.
Rapper Juice WRLD is dead. 21-year-old who was named Billboard's Best New Artist this year suffered a medical emergency at Chicago's Midway Airport.
So many questions as to how a seemingly healthy 21-year-old could die so unexpectedly.
I seriously seen an issue and I was hoping it would get addressed.
These drugs, whether it's lean or general painkillers, perks, all these sorts of things are severely dangerous.
You can be here 1 second and then you can be gone the next, man.
I can't see someone so young, so beautiful, and so smart and talented pass like that. It's so sad.
On the 8th of December 2019, Jared Anthony Higgins, more commonly known as Juice WRLD, was pronounced dead. This is his legacy.
Absorbing all the music and shit I would listen to, just cramming my head with it, not really giving a fuck about school or homework or really anything else besides music, that's all I cared about. So
Jared was born and raised in Chicago, Illinois. His parents split up at an early age, and whilst he remained in contact with his father, they rarely saw each other. Juice described his mother as a hardcore Christian, and she even banned rap music from the house while he was growing up, as she thought it could have a bad influence on Jared. This meant growing up, he mostly listened to pop and rock music that he had heard on video games such as Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. That wasn't until he started having a crush on a girl at school, and in an attempt to impress her, started to listen to the music she liked. This introduced him to his initial musical influences, such as Panic! At the Disco, Fall Out Boy, and Blink-182. It wasn't until Jared's brother and cousins introduced him to artists such as Chief Keef, Gucci Mane, and Future that he would start gaining a real interest in rap music.
I'm the best at it. Yes, I'm the best at it.
Even with his father's imposed rap band, hip-hop's pull on Jared was just too strong. He began creating music in his freshman year of high school, but musically was active before then, teaching himself how to play the piano and guitar when he was younger through YouTube tutorials. He began taking music seriously around 2015 when he was 16, after being told by his friends he was good enough to become a real rapper. He uploaded his first song titled Forever to SoundCloud that same year under the alias Juice the Kid. It was also around this time that him and his friends would start experimenting with drugs. However, whilst Jared's peers were smoking weed, he was taking Percocet and Xanax.
I would tell myself to stay as far away from drugs as possible. I think the main advice I give myself is just to not give up. Keep striving. And stay sober.
Jared's adoration and obsession with music, and in particular artists like Future and Gucci Mane, would play a big role in his success, but they also contributed to his everlasting struggles with drug addiction.
My family putting me on all this different music, Future, Gucci, all these niggas talking about drugs.
You can't help but ignore how fun or how interesting, at least, they're making Xans and Lean and all this shit sound.
Yeah, bro, when I heard Future, the first song I ever heard by Future was Ain't No Way Around It. The second song I ever heard by Future is Dirty Sprite, off the first Dirty Sprite mixtape. And that shit had me wanting to sip Lean at 11, 12 years old, bro.
Yeah.
So, I didn't know if that was what I was really finna be doing, but
Although that's where his desire to experiment with drugs started, it was mostly Xanax that a young Gerald would use to chase a high.
I used to fuck with Perks heavy too, but it was Xanax. That was what did it. But it's like, me and the homies was doing that shit before it was cool. Like, before Future was rapping about it, before he was telling motherfuckers to pop 56. You know what I'm saying? Like, before shit was a trend, we was doing that shit because I think that was like my first streak of being different. Everybody was smoking weed. They used to look at us like we were like crackheads. Like, bro, y'all taking Xans? Y'all popping pills? What the fuck is wrong with y'all? Same niggas 2 years later hitting my phone asking me where they at. That's the funny part.
Juice grew dependent on prescription drugs to deal with his depression. His ex-girlfriend was quoted saying, even when he had every reason to be happy, he still wasn't, and that's obviously a mental illness. He spoke some more on his relationship with drugs, as his fame and music career grew, saying that she believed he would take up to 3 30mg Percocet at a time, whilst drinking lean. Whilst many artists turn to drugs post-fame, Juice's relationship with drugs started way before then. He described it as a gift and a curse. Whilst they can and will ruin your life, if the addiction becomes too much, drugs help the creative process, allowing him to feel emotions that a sober mindset couldn't, potentially helping create his breakthrough hit, All Girls Are the Same.
I needed another hoe, got me finished.
The music video to the Heartbreak Anthem was uploaded to the Lyrical Lemonade YouTube channel on the 25th of February 2016 and would change Juice WRLD's life forever. The song came along at the perfect time as Lyrical Lemonade was really starting to take off and become the go-to platform for aspiring hip-hop artists. This was the beginning of a long-running creative relationship between Juice and Colbeck, which would also turn into a close friendship. For me, this is my favourite Juice WRLD song, from the poetic writing to the hard-hitting beat, which is also complemented with the light, soft melody. The song goes against a stereotypical hip-hop artist's braggadocious attitude, claiming they could have any girl they want, which I feel is why the song stood out in the way that it did. Whilst the song certainly brought Juice to the attention of many, gaining 500,000 views after the first 2 days, it was a song that he had released nearly a year prior that would catapult Juice WRLD into mainstream stardom.
Riddance here with the song Lucid Dreams, Juice WRLD.
Was first released in June 2017 on Juice WRLD's SoundCloud page and started to gain traction after the success of All Girls Are the Same and would go on to peak at number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100. Much like All Girls Are the Same, the song is about a troubling relationship produced by the same person, Nick Mira.
I met Juice by my homeboy DT, aka Side Piece, around say like 2 years ago. He was on Twitter, he met him, he's like, yo, I found this kid, he's from Chicago, he got like 300 SoundCloud followers, he sounds dope, we should start working with him. Ever since then, we just been sending him stuff, and he's just been knocking him hits.
When creating the beat, the song and whilst sounding amazing and contributing to the emo rapper's biggest hit, the use of the sample would be very costly.
So Sting was even saying that the royalties from that song are going to be paying his grandkids' college tuition.
Yeah, she gonna Sting say the royalties from that song gonna be paying grandkids college tuition. I bet. Motherfucker, that's some shit. Sting, shout out Sting, that's a goat right there.
Are you familiar with Lucid Dreams?
Of course I am,
from
yeah.
Juice WRLD, and what are your thoughts on that song?
I love that version. Yeah.
Sting described the song as a beautiful interpretation that is faithful to the song's original form. So faithful, in fact, that Sting would take 85% of the earnings Lucid Dreams made. Nick Mira, appearing to be riled up, tweeted about his outrage over the situation. Juice, however, appeared less fazed. This wasn't the last of the song's legal issues, though. In October 2019, broken-up pop-punk group Yellowcard opened up a lawsuit against Juice WRLD, seeking $15 million in damages and co-ownership of the song, as they believe Juice stole their melody from the song Hollywood Died. For me, the resemblance is debatable, but take a listen for yourself. overlap in the first half of the melody, but not so much in the second. Struggled to see it being close enough for a lawsuit. The pop punk band continued pursuing the lawsuit until April of 2020 and is now currently on hold due to the global pandemic. Despite all of its legal issues, I think when we look back on this generation of SoundCloud artists, Lucid Dreams will be considered a classic. The record went on to become one of the defining songs of the decade, spending 48 weeks on the chart and sitting on over 500 million views on YouTube. So of course, it went on to become one of the leading singles to his debut album, Goodbye and Good Riddance. Released on the 23rd of May 2018, the album peaked at number 4 on the Billboard 200 and only had one feature, which appeared on the track Wasted by Lil Uzi Vert. Highlights from the album, apart from the obvious two, were Black and White, Candles, I'm Still, and Lean On Me. The album received mixed reviews from critics, but the fans loved it, as the music felt raw, personal, and relatable.
I like to make people happy. I like to create connections with music and vibes and bring people together. I'm not necessarily the most joyful person in the world, but that's one thing that does make me happy, making music.
A month later in June, XXXTentacion tragically passed away in a botched robbery, and the November prior, another emo rap pioneer, Lil Peep, had sadly passed away due to a drug overdose. Both incidents deeply affected Juice, and he wrote a song in tribute to the deceased artists, titled Legends.
That shit sounds horrible. Hey, Juice, you gonna have to sing that shit out over there, bro. That shit sounds horrible. Listen. I usually have an answer to the question, but this time I'm gonna be quiet. This time, it's not like a feeling of uncertainty, the aliens inside. This time, it was so unexpected. Last time, we were trying to break it.
Legends would eventually go platinum, but Juice wasn't slowing down there. In October that same year, he collaborated with one of his idols, Future, to release the mixtape Wild on Drugs. The title was very appropriate at the time, with some taking it as a reference to the current state of hip-hop, with most of them passing away because of an overdose the month before. The project debuted at number 2, behind the soundtrack to A Star Is Born, and they claimed the whole thing was recorded in a week. Both artists were known in the industry for their ability to relentlessly make song after song, and Juice in particular became renowned for his ability to freestyle.
I've never seen anything like it. Like, he's the first person I ever worked with musically that just literally, he made songs in one take. Like, he didn't stop. Then he would do it 4 times, and he'd pick from each one, like, without stopping the song, and then he'd create a song in the shortest time frame I've ever seen. It was crazy, man.
Like, it was so talented, man. He, like, his freestyle, you know, Westwood, his rapper, Howard, what the fuck?
YouTube.com/Tim Westwood TV. Yo, it's Tim Westwood TV, up at Capital Extra. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, because right now we're about to go in so legendary. We're going to shut the city down, baby. Let's set the tone. Juice WRLD. Let's go.
Juice WRLD surprised a lot of people in the industry when he freestyled for an hour straight on the Tim Westwood Show, with a lot of old heads in hip-hop presuming he was just another one of those SoundCloud rappers, but he was much more.
People like perceive an artist like him and think he can't rap because he sings and has melody, and that wasn't bad. He rapped over False Prophets, right? Salute to Juice WRLD. I grade him an A on that.
A few months after his initial 1-hour freestyle on the Tim Westwood Show, Juice went back and did it again, but this time exclusively over Eminem beats, who was a big inspiration for Juice growing up.
R.I.P. to X, R.I.P. to P, R.I.P. to Mac, R.I.P. to Beats, R.I.P. to anybody that want beef, R.I.P. to anybody that want beef, R.I.P. to all the niggas died in the street, R.I.P. to all the niggas died, rest in peace. The only thing I can't say is R.I.P. me, cause I'ma live forever. I put that on my life, B.
Juice would carry on showcasing his special talent on various platforms, and according to Juice, every song on his sophomore album, Death Race for Love, was freestyle. He recorded the entire album over 3 days. 23 songs over 72 hours. The freestyle element of the album was most evident on the track Feeling, where there was a mistake during the song which they decided to leave in. The freestyle nature resulted in a variety of sounds, from the dancehall vibe of nearly cooling to something close to country with flaws and synths. But of course, he stayed true to his familiar emo rap sound throughout the album, in particular with his lead single, Robbery. He had produced yet again another heartbreak hit with the song climbing the charts again. However, whilst the heartbreaking reference of Goodbye and Good Riddance was how he was feeling at the moment, when he was recording this album, his girlfriend was there with him in the studio day and night and was due to put an end to his girl problems. Is an Instagram influencer with now over 1 million followers and started dating Juice WRLD in late 2018. The two were more or less inseparable as she would attend recording sessions and join Juice on tour.
Imagine a breath of fresh air, but at the same time somebody to take your breath away. It's not really no feeling like that out there. So no drug ever make me feel like that. Nobody besides English and Rain.
Later on in 2019, Juice would release yet another hit featuring NBA YoungBoy titled Bandit, linking up with Cole Bennett once again for the music video. Everything was starting to come together for Juice WRLD. He'd found a girl he loves and his music career was thriving more than ever. Collaborating with artists such as Ellie Goulding, Halsey and BTS, Juice WRLD was a bona fide superstar, helping pioneer a new wave of music. But then, on the morning of December 8, 2019, his life was cut desperately short.
At the Atlantic airport, we got a guy seizure in here.
865 David, you need the ambulance inside the airport. Where in the airport?
The Atlantic private, section 6150 South Laramie. Individual seizure.
This time.
6 days after his 21st birthday, Jared and his friends were travelling to Chicago on a private jet to celebrate. The pilot of the plane had noticed that they were carrying a variety of narcotics and guns, and as a result, alerted law enforcement authorities. Whilst on the flight, members of Juice's management team claimed they saw the rapper taking multiple unknown pills. The police were waiting for the flight to land so that they could search the plane. As they were searching the luggage, Jared swallowed several pills of Percocet in an attempt to hide evidence. He started convulsing, seizing up, and bleeding from the mouth. Attempting to save his life, he was transported to the nearest hospital, where he was pronounced dead. The autopsy report showed it was due to a toxic level of Percocet and codeine in his system.
999. You gotta keep that in your heart. Can everyone say 999? Thank you.
Make some noise for Hollywood, John. If you love this word again, put your fingers back up right now. Put them up high. Go ahead.
Fortunately, before his death, Juice was able to collaborate with one of his idols, Eminem, for the track Godzilla. This was his first posthumous appearance, and the song actually reached the #1 spot in the UK. The music video was directed by, of course, Cole Bennett, who was able to pay tribute to Juice by creating one of the standout music videos of the year. Since then, there has been a number of other posthumous features from Juice, such as PTSD, Suicidal, and No Miami. His latest posthumous release was his own song titled Righteous, that he had recorded in his home studio in LA. Juice's mum released the song along with the announcement that she'd be starting the Live Free 999 fund. The song itself is a tough listen. One of the saddest things looking back at the death of Juice WRLD is this sense of inevitability. Of course, there's the obvious theme of his drug problem throughout his discography, but there's some things in particular that feel more haunting. Weeks before his death, a prank started to become a trend on TikTok, where Juice's hit song Lucid Dreams would play, and at a certain point in the music, it would sound like a broken record replaying the same fraction of a second repeatedly. When it got to that point in the song, whoever is doing the challenge would pretend to have a seizure. A trending internet challenge acting out the exact way Juice WRLD died to a Juice WRLD song would be weird enough on its own, but on a freestyle before he was famous, he raps the following line.
I pop a Percocet, the perfect shit, I'm overdosing.
On his tribute track to X and Peep Legends, he said this.
We're looking at past 21.
And to top it all off, he died the same day as John Lennon, who he mentioned on his breakthrough hit. Don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to start any conspiracy theories, and I'm sure it's all just coincidence, but it just emphasises this feeling that the tragedy was inevitable.
I would say that, like, once I saw Juice record in Sydney the first time, I would say I definitely went back and was like, okay, I want to try this, and that's how I record now.
Really?
I don't do it how he does it, but you know, I the way, like, just off the top and punching in, for sure, that definitely influenced me. And the other thing that I took away was really getting in touch with your emotions when making a song. That's one thing that I feel like he did perfectly.
On a musical level, Juice's legacy can already be seen in up-and-coming Australian artist The Kid Laroi. The young rapper signed to the same label as Juice in 2019 at the age of 15. Juice WRLD became a mentor for Laroi and took him on the Australian leg of his Death Race for Love tour. I've not felt this excited for a rising artist since Juice WRLD, and with the help of Lyrical Lemonade, he looks well on course to become hip-hop's next star.
That was my big brother. Yeah, he was a great guy. We got some shit together. Yeah, I mean, shit, it's a tragedy, but, you know, we got great guys. Making sure everything's good. So, yeah, rest in peace, and we'll make sure
Whilst Juice WRLD's imprint on the music industry will have a lasting impact, I hope his death will transcend that. The US has been suffering with an opioid addiction crisis, with data in 2018 showing that every day 128 people die as a result of an opiate overdose. It's a topic that's seemingly swept under the carpet, with big pharmaceutical companies profiting from the millions of people that suffer with the addiction. The opening of the Live Free 999 Fund is a symbol of what Juice WRLD tried to do with his music, which was normalise the conversation around drug addiction, depression and anxiety. I hope that people can learn from his mistakes before it's too late and we lose another special talent too soon.
You can do whatever the fuck you want to do in this life. Remember that
sounds cliche, but that's some real shit. And I can't tell you that enough, because I accomplished that. Like, I wasn't shit 2 years ago. Like, I was getting like 5,000, 10,000 plays on SoundCloud, and that used to make me piss myself. So, me going from that to shit, several times platinum, #1 art, like a bunch of all these accolades and awards and titles and shit. Nigga, less than 2 years ago, I had less than 2,000 followers on Instagram, bro. Now I got like 7 million followers. Like, what the fuck? This shit is possible. This is possible. This is very possible. And you could do it. I hope somebody in here, I hope several people in here that's listening to me, whoever listening to me, I hope that y'all accomplish.
I'm probably off about 9:30.
Got the name Lil Peep because since I was a small baby, my mom has called me Peep. I don't know why Peep is Peep. It's just what she calls me. Pretty much everyone in my life calls me Peep. So Peep. I was born on Halloween night, November 1st. So I got that 11-1 ultra. I was listening to shit with my mom. I don't know. Being whenever something's going wrong in my life, I'm freaking out. I call my mom on the phone and stress her the fuck out. I mean, here's his number, and that's my first sister that really popular section. It was very important to me. I read the Hellwood comics and shit, but I just loved him as a character, and I loved the whole guy. I think that movie is very underrated. First one I got is this big one right here. It's my mom's birthday, her initials, so that she wouldn't get mad at me, because it was my first tattoo when I was 14. I got my grandpa, I got my mom, I got a friend tattooed on me, so yeah, I have a weird, definition of family. It's not the same as everyone else's. Like, I got my son right here on my leg, but my son is a doll that I bought at a store, and his name is Meep. I bought Meep a year ago now with my ex-girlfriend, and he's our son, and so I decided I had to get him tattooed. My boys with me. God, fucking, it's okay to cry. The same over. It's cool. We doing a show, bro. We getting Denver up, you know what I'm saying? Schema Posse. Shit. I've been working on music like 7 months, 7-8 months now. These are the people who, like, when I didn't have any, like, fucking followers or no shit like that, like, they were fucking with me before everybody else, you know what I'm saying? When, like, I didn't have any clout or nothing like that. No one knew who I was, but they, like, reached out and shit because they were fucking my music,
What was your first meeting with Jay Green like? He was like, "Yo, I want you to be my rapper." What was this conversation like?
It was cool. I was really excited because I just started
And I was kind of worried about how I was gonna like fit in and shit.
Right.
Because my shit is more like
yeah. Like it's mean as fuck. It's great.
Yeah. I'm not as mean as you guys.
Yeah. That's good though. You need a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Let me get the one without
I'm from New York. I'm from Long Island, New York, but I'm all over the place right now. Like, I'm gonna be staying here, I'm gonna be staying in LA, you know what I'm saying? I just fuck with my friends, yo. It's like wherever my homies are at, like, you know, we all fuck with each other to the level where it's like, we just would let each other stay at each other's houses, you know what I'm saying? It's nothing like that, so we just kind of just go all over the place like that.
It's just some family shit, bro.
Yeah, it's just some family shit.
Nothing other than that, bro. It's just
Yeah, it's like different headquarters, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a LA headquarters, now there's a Denver headquarters.
I've got 2 hours.
What, how we're gonna do it? If you guys are gonna go on first,
Yeah.
open anything, and then like...
Bedtime's 10:30. What?
Ghost.
You need to shower tonight.
I will.
So it's like a segue into it.
Yeah, like you guys do your shit first, and then once we all three come out, you know, I might be like, I'm probably gonna be Beamer Boy like second. I don't know. But my set is gonna be our kid. You see what I'm saying?
Because I think that the scooter kids that we know from San Diego, Badger Clit, that's his name. San Diego. Shout out and Tanner, they're the ones who put me on there. Like, check out the name. Badger Clit is his nickname. He's a scooter kid, but he's pretty cool. But shit. Nice. You guys know that? Badger Clit. Follow Badger Clit on Instagram.
What, Badger Clit?
Yeah. But he's the one who put me on to Lil Peep.
Oh, he did?
I think so. I might have heard him before that, but I already knew you and shit, but I think that he was the one who was listening to him.
Oh, okay.
I gotta rely on these young ass kids to tell me what songs are popular. I don't got no time to listen to mistakes.
Right, nah,
it's tough to fill.
Like basically we just working on Ghost working on some shit, me and Ghost like doing some shit. My next single will be like me and Pete. And then we're gonna do a Schema Posse full member, like all 50.
Okay. Shout out to the Schema Boys, Schema Posse, shout out Lil Pete, Ghostman, and Jay Green, No Jumper, coolest podcast in the world. Subscribe to us on YouTube, SoundCloud, iTunes. Follow on some shit on Twitter and Instagram, and check me out, Adam22, all spelled out on the gram as well. Thank you, boys, for coming in. You're gonna tear up Ham on Everything tonight. I forgot to mention that.
Yeah.
But Lil Peep is playing with Larry June tonight. Ham on Everything. It means absolutely nothing that I'm saying this right now, since this won't come out for like a week. But fuck it, we out here.
All link together? Because how many people total are there in GBC?
10. Is it 10?
Yeah.
Okay. We all met.
The hard 10?
Yeah, the doors closed.
Damn. So me and Adam came. I would love to join Goth one day. What's our entry?
We're a little older, so we're gonna start Goth Man Clay.
Yeah.
Damn, mom for him. Right now.
Four Tar, Lil Peep, Lil Tracy, Wicked Face, Prince Eternal, Max Ned, Doves, Official, JP Dream Thug, Yawns, 10.
Okay. And you guys?
Yeah. We did say cool.
So when you guys first started linking up, was it? I know when like other rappers hear other rappers like shit that's like kind of similar. So was it like strange hearing other cats doing the same music as you? You know what I'm saying?
When I first heard like everyone hears music, I was just like, okay, like this aligns with what I'm doing now, or some things. It's weird, and we were all kind of doing it at the same time, so it kind of just made sense, I guess.
Horse is my dad. I was very inspired by Horse.
Yeah.
Were you?
What, as when you were in Virginia still, when you heard Horsehead's music? That's tight.
Yeah, and then we became roommates, like pretty much when we had a place with Nan, so we just became friends. And
At the loft?
no,
Or
we had a crib in Boyle Heights, like what is that, 2-3 years ago, two years ago or something.
So you guys met, and then you knew
But that was before Goth Boy. That was when you guys
You
were in Thrax.
House, pretty much. Well, Gotham Click was kind of probably a thing already, the early stages, kind of.
Yeah, because that's what I remember.
Cold Heart I met through NetArv as well, though. So we just like randomly hung out with him one day.
And then how'd you guys link up with Peep and Wicca?
So Cold Heart knew Wicca, I guess.
Yeah, through Tumblr. And then...
Shout out Tumblr.
Yeah.
So that's the link to Wicca.
I don't know. I met Peep through Horsehead. I heard what Ned told me about him.
Yeah, I don't know where I came.
Yeah, Pete, where'd you come from?
I don't know.
It just popped up.
Benzos.
because I remember Horsehead and Ned first.
Yeah.
And I remember Soldier Witch.
Yeah. Young Brad.
R.I.P. man. I honestly don't remember. I'm here. Who are you? I don't know.
Okay, your music is very emotional, and people always cry to it, and find it joy. What makes you sad and cry?
So many different things. I suffer from depression pretty bad, and yeah, I mean that just like a lot of things like pile on top of each other and just kind of like fucking. I think I'm kind of being balanced.
But what did you learn from school when you was alone, and you hated people in school, and people in school hated you? What did you learn from that?
Most people suck. Yeah, most people suck.
Yes, for sure. Not too long ago, you've tweeted everything around you disappeared. What is changing in your life right now?
A lot. I mean, when you start to grow up as an artist, it starts to become more of a job and very like mentally consuming of your thoughts.
But you're still depressed?
Yeah.
But for different reasons. So why? Because you're doing great.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different reasons. I had a pretty fucked up childhood. A lot of weird shit happened to me when I was really young, and I think it fucked with my head.
About drugs, this is a tricky question. What are your favorite drugs?
My favorite drug? Xanax, Percocet, I used to do a lot of coke, but ecstasy, Molly, pretty much everything.
And talking about pills like Xanax and Percocet, does that really help with anxiety and
the Xanax helps with that, yeah. I mean, that's what it's paid for, is just calm it down.
Because in some of the interviews you talked about you were lonely, playing thyroid, so Xanax helped with that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it just kept me doing that, like, without, fucking hurting myself.
Give a little bit of license to catch rid of such as names, tags, and child abuse, fishing goods,
I mean, I fucking almost died a bunch of times.
Tell me awful stories how I love it when you do that on me.
Oh my god, I think it like makes my life because it's so much easier. Versus going to get everywhere to eat my
When did things start to go wrong in the listening/bullshit relationship you guys had for a while?
Well, I would say when it's just like me, I just can't be like a shadow. I'm a game-oriented type of person for myself. It was just weird, like he was the only one that was signed. And it just started getting real corny, you feel me? Like, all the new fans, they just didn't know the history. And I just don't have time for that. Like,
How'd you guys link up in the first place? How did the friendship start?
We met. I think we should explain the history of GBC or I know the history of GBC, like, I was 17 when I first joined GBC, and today I'm 22. And I just left GBC, yesterday? Yeah, like 2 days ago. It was just like, we just been on this shit, all this rock star shit that y'all been seeing. We just sat down and everybody, I'm a rock star, this, that, emo shit, like, niggas been on that.
For like 5 years.
More, because that's when I was.
Who started GBC named Ned?
With and Horsehead and Cold Heart.
Okay, so they were the original ones, and it was just them. And then at some point they meet you, and were you had young bro already died when you met them?
No. Okay. There was no
Okay. So you link up with them, and Lil Peep is yet to become part of this whole movement at the time. Okay. Yeah.
I think around that time he was Emo Posse or something. I don't know. I'm not sure.
But the good old days.
I didn't know. I wasn't sure.
So then, because there was the Schema Posse with Jay Green and Peep and Ghostmane, and then pretty soon after, like before that even came out, they had already dissolved, and then pretty soon after that, somehow Peep starts kicking it with you guys and the whole GB.
Documentaries, rest in peace, Peep, X, Mill, Smoke, Juice.
Clothing, so it's super high quality. You know that we ship
internationally.
You know that all merchandise ordered will arrive before Christmas, but what you may not realise is that you only have 7 days left to actually order it before it just disappears forever. Never again will there be Just a Bits t-shirts. It's a real travesty. The link is down in the description. Now time to stop with all shameless self-promotions. In the previous episode of Hermitcraft, we met up with this scout and we discussed all things Pacific. Pacific is going to be our new massive technical redstone store. And as you can see, Iskal has actually built up the framework for this thing. It's going to be enormous. We also spent at least 30% of the episode laughing at these ridiculous squeaky inflatable noises that we now have installed. Now I was tasked with creating the Pacific Vault. This is going to be the research and development area where we're going to build up all of the technical redstone contraptions and really work through all of the designing. So I've got a high security combination lock right here, incredibly secure, that opens up this absolutely enormous door that is going to drop us down into the vault. The only issue is at this point in time we don't really have much of a vault. We have this lake, or well, it's not really even a lake. We have this puddle, and then we have a handful of chests. You know, we've got a beacon. That's one good thing. But I think it's safe to say that this is a little bit pants when it comes to research and development areas. So it's time to get my mining arms on, and we're going to go to town on this thing. It's going to be absolutely enormous. Let's fire up the time-lapse machine and get this ball rolling. And as I was taking out all of the blocks to build this thing, I started to realise just how much I've actually changed my way of playing Minecraft over the past couple of years. You see, I always used to build things underneath the ground. Taking out massive areas to make way for huge parts of my base is something that I used to do all the time, because my base was if you went into spectator mode and went underneath the ground at one of my bases, there'd be like a little bit above, but then 90% of it would be underneath the floor. It would be like the ultimate hobbit hole. That is how I love to play the game. That's how I love to make my bases. That's what I really, really enjoyed. But then over the past couple of years, I've kind of gradually shifted, and I've really started to enjoy the process of creating a cool looking exterior to a base and really spending time on the details, really making sure that it all works together and fits together to create an interesting looking build. and focusing less on actually just burying everything underneath the floor and trying to just make something that actually looks cool when you fly past it. And it's been a really interesting development, and it's not